With E3 2018 well underway, we go back and take a look at the highlights of each of the major conferences. In this episode we're going to take a look at the highlights of the Microsoft E3 conference. Microsoft's conference was a little bit, well, relentless this year, showing game after game. They covered 50 titles, including 18 exclusives and 15 trailer premieres. And a lot of what they showed actually caught my eye, so much so that it's probably impossible to cover every single highlight from the show. So I'm just going to cover what stood out. First of all was Halo Infinite. This is the game Microsoft kicked off their show with. A trailer was teased, but not much gameplay was revealed. Nonetheless, a new Halo title is bound to excite Microsoft fans. Next was The Division 2. Now they showed off a trailer as well as a scripted gameplay demo, which was interesting. The question is it going to be enough to bring me back to the Division franchise following how I felt about the first game? Obviously it's got a different setting, being set in Washington this time, and at a different time of year could potentially help, but unfortunately I do fear that it may be a bit generic to stand above some of the other games that were shown off. Finally, they gave us a release date of March 15th, 2019. Next was Kingdom Hearts 3, which is finally coming to Xbox, which should please a lot of people out there, especially my brother. Kingdom Hearts fans have been waiting for this game for a long time, and the gameplay trailer they showed off looks like it might be worth the wait. With a release date of January 29th, 2019, I wonder if this is going to live up to the expectations that fans have. Next is Sea of Thieves, Cursed, Cells and Forsaken Shore. Sea of Thieves was a game that did disappoint unfortunately upon release. However, with more content being added to it, it potentially could reach the status that the hype built up a year or two ago. Cursed, Cells and Forsaken Shore gave glimpses of what was to come, including skeleton ships, the prospect of new islands, and just generally more to do, which hopefully helps the game overall. The first update, Cursed Cells, was supposed to land in July of this year, with the Forsaken Shores arriving in September. Next was Forza Horizon 4. Now I'm not a big, huge racing game fan if I'm honest. There are very few that catch my eye. However, Forza Horizon 4 certainly did. Namely because of the location it was set in. Seeing the cars race around my backyard was quite enjoyable to watch, especially during the trailer and the gameplay demonstration they showed off. In this shared world, different seasons were shown off, as well as different gameplay modes. With a release date of October the 2nd, 2018, this one I was surprised with. I just imagined that the local farmers would be very upset if traffic acted like it does in Forza Horizon 4. Next is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Not much information was given about this. They did show off a story trailer, which had quite a few similarities to the Predator movie if I'm honest. That alone caught my eye, and whilst I haven't been a big fan of the Tomb Raider series overall, this was one of the highlights that caught my attention. Also, they're aiming for a September 2019 release date, so I hope they can stick to that. Next is Fallout 76. Now, whilst the trailer was shown off, showing the environment and the lands, there wasn't any gameplay shown off per se. They did give a bit of information out, saying that it's going to be 4 times the size of Fallout 4, set in West Virginia, which all just adds fuel to the hype fire. Hopefully when Bethesda's conference comes around, we'll have a lot more information on Fallout 76. Next is Metro Exodus. Again, another trailer was shown off, and from an editor's standpoint, the trailer was very cleverly edited. Whilst not much information was revealed about how the actual game will play or run, the trailer did look like it was in-game footage, and with a release date of February 22nd, 2019, this is one I'm going to be looking forward to. It does seem, however, it will be competing alongside Anthem, which is released the same day. Next is Gears Tactics. Now, whilst not much information was given about this game, as only pre-alpha footage was shown, it felt XCOM-like and a turn-based strategy game set in the Gears of War universe. Any similarities to turn-based strategy or XCOM always piques my interest, and this is one I'm going to be following quite closely. Next was Gears 5. The 5th installment of the main Gears of War franchise. A story trailer was shown off for this that emphasised on the character Kate. This seems to be the main character of this game, and there seemed to be a theme of paranoia going on in the background. Unfortunately, there was only a vague release date of 2019, so we'll have to wait till more information is revealed on this one. Next is Jump Force. This seems to be a mashup of all the Shonen Jump franchises. So there's One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball, and even hints at Death Note, combining all of its main characters into a fighting game that looked chaotic but fun. With a release date of 2019, I was actually surprised to see the trailer they showed off. And whilst not maybe a classic 2D fighter which I'm normally fond of, this game nonetheless got me excited. Next is Cyberpunk 2077. This was the last game shown at the Microsoft conference. Only a CG trailer was shown, there was no gameplay, but it gave us an idea of what the story may include. Showing images of a dystopian future very akin to, say, Blade Runner. It's definitely going to be interesting. I do have a few concerns regarding Cyberpunk 2077. One of the reasons I felt that the Witcher series was so successful was Geralt himself as a character. If the main protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077 is not on par with Geralt, then I don't think it will be as much an enjoyable experience, but we'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, it looks enticing and intriguing. Next is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. This is the new From Software game that was teased last year. Obviously, just being a From Software title, the hype was already building up for this game. During the Microsoft conference, a trailer was revealed showing off gameplay aspects as well as story elements. It's a game that seems to be set in feudal Japan. With both human elements and demon elements, the main protagonist you play seems to have a mechanical arm of sorts that is able to transition into other additional weapons. How this works in combat, we'll have to wait and see, but it looks interesting. Personally, I would have liked to have seen a different setting other than feudal Japan, but we'll have to wait and see how this pans out as it's scheduled for a 2019 release. Next is Devil May Cry 5. During an adrenaline-fueled trailer that was shown off, we got to see what Capcom had planned for the next installment in their Demon Slaying series. This sees the return of both Nero and Dante, with a heavy emphasis on Nero rather than Dante. Dante was really only actually teased at the end, but nonetheless, the entire trailer seemed to ebb and flow with action and tongue-in-cheek comedy. With a release date of spring 2019, this was one of the top highlights of the Microsoft conference for me personally. And then finally, the last game and highlight of the Microsoft conference was Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Blind Forest was a massive surprise of a game, and at the time was probably one of the only titles to actually make me jealous of not owning an Xbox One. Ori and the Will of the Wisps just cements that. And whilst it still will be available on PC, it's definitely one of the Microsoft franchises that I'm jealous of. During the story and gameplay trailer that was shown, it seems that Ori and the Will of the Wisp is keeping the same platforming style gameplay, but adding new elements on top of it. Weapons were shown off like a sword and a bow, which will hopefully expand the combat of the game. With a vague release of 2019, this was the game that I was most excited to see during the Microsoft press conference. Now overall, Microsoft this year put on a good show, showing off game after game. It was pretty relentless, and whilst they showed off a few decent exclusives, a lot of the highlights were from third parties, which means that potentially PC, PlayStation and Nintendo players will get to experience the games. Like I said though, during the Microsoft conference 50 games were shown, and I would be hard pressed to cover them all. A few honourable mentions that were not included in this video include Crackdown 3, Just Cause 4 and Dying Light 2, and whilst they may be highlights for some people out there, they weren't for me unfortunately. Anyway, what did you think about the Microsoft conference and what were your highlights? Leave a comment down below, and until next time, I've been Darcblade bringing you the Microsoft conference highlights for E3 2018. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.